The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily represent those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting group. Access Fort Wayne is a department of the Allen County Public Library. If you or anyone you know might be interested in making a television show, please call 260-421-1250.
Dr. Rudy Kachmann, welcome to our show. You're going to love the show. It's something a little different, and we'll explain to you the yin and the yang that's behind us in this illustration right here. And I have a wonderful guest with me today who will speak a great deal about his martial arts studio, and that's Steve Basche. He's the owner of Basche Martial Arts. That's there by Bishop Dwinger. Just up the highway a little bit. It used to be a dance studio where I used to take dance lessons years ago, but now it's a martial arts studio. And so tell me, Steve, what are you offering to the public there? And explain to me what you're teaching. What is it doing? It's about 50-50 kids and adults. Isn't this a wonderful thing? Because it's about wellness. Remember, I'm a wellness doctor. And it's not just what you eat, it's also how we move. And today we're speaking a lot about movement, Steve. So tell us something about the Basche Martial Arts Studio.
Yes, sir. The main focus there is not only the physical discipline, it's the character development aspect of it. We teach a lot. We focus a lot on discipline, self-control, focus. When you're training and moving, like you said, Dr. Kachmann, not only are you learning to defend yourself, but you're also developing more confidence, and you're feeling better, because when you're working out, everything works out. So that's one of the main things we focus on.
So you're teaching the kids positive thinking, for example?
Yes, sir.
And your kids have been taught martial arts, for example, it'd probably pretty tough to bully them, right?
Oh, yes, sir. When you work out and you train, you can't help but feel more sure of yourself, and you're projecting that positive energy. And the beautiful thing about it is you don't have to really use your martial arts, because, you know, the bullies can sense whether or not you're weak or strong. When you're working out and you're training, you develop more strength from the inside out. And that's the beautiful thing about training in martial arts. You deflect any type of negativity, you know, coming your way. Usually bullies will focus on people that are insecure. They carry themselves with low self-esteem. In martial arts, you can't help but carry yourself with more confidence, and return that deflects any type of negativity or bullying.
Yeah, and how you, let's say a child here, 10-year-old, say, how would you teach them? I know me reading a little bit about this is that one of the first things a adult too must say is hold the head up straight, right?
Yes, sir.
And is that one of the first things? And but tell them, how do you teach that to them? Are there small groups, large groups, individuals, or how are you doing it?
The beautiful thing about our program is we have a beginner class. We have different age groups. We have a 4 to 6-year-old little tiger class. You ought to see those guys. They're really cute.
Yeah.
And then we have an intermediate level, and then we go a 7 to 12 class, basic. Then we do an intermediate, advanced, and then we have a basic adult class, intermediate, advanced. So everybody's learning the step-by-step process. We don't just mix them in there at different belt levels. It's more individualized attention. And we focus a lot on when they learn, let's say in the basic level, let's say they learn a reverse punch, they'll also learn a word like focus or discipline. And what happens is when they practice it step by step and they perfect that technique, not only physically, but they practice, you know, like I said, focus or self-control, whatever the word may be, and it becomes a repetitive practice, and then it becomes autonomic. It becomes part of their character. So not only do they grow physically, they grow mentally as well and spiritually.
Yeah. Would you have, if you're teaching someone, are there maybe 5 or 10 things they do one after the other, like steps?
Yes, sir.
You know, that would be one. What would be next?
Yeah, we do what's called, I call it a speed week, power week. On both weeks, we always work on the foundation, the basics, like the basic strikes. Then let's say if...
Can you show them to us, what they would be?
Sure. So let's say they do a basic reverse punch and a basic jab. We'll put it together and call it a combination on speed week, and they'll do it very quick. The front punch, back punch. Now, if it's power week, they focus more on power techniques and self-defense, which is, let's say someone swings at you, you'd kick low, reverse punch, and grab a knee strike, and then back to guard. So we combine the two. Speed week's more of a, you know, kickboxing techniques, very fast drills. It works with your quick twitch muscle. Also helps to release a lot of energy. In return, will calm the kids down because they're releasing all that anxious energy, and they go from anxious energy to more of a calm energy. Our parents tell us all the time they notice a big difference in like 3 months, their kids' attitude. They seem more calm, more focused, more alert. So that's what we do. We focus a lot on that.
So you're connecting the mind and the body. It's really what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
What are the words that you teach them to use?
I teach them like focus, which is very important, self-control.
Focus meaning they have to, with their eyes, with their brain, and with their...
Yeah, mind, body together, focusing on a certain technique and a drill. Also self-control, learning how to control their mind and their body. I'll have them stand still at attention like this. And a lot of the times they want to move around. So what I tell them to do is tell themselves, I can handle it, I'm in control, I'm focused. So they're using the mind and body together. And when they do that over and over a certain period of time, it becomes, like I said, autonomic. It becomes part of their character.
Yeah, and it affects the physiology of their body.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And adults the same. And is this also physical exercise then?
Yes, sir.
Because you sometimes have them move very fast?
Yes, sir. Depending on what they're doing, if it's a speed week, we'll do drills where we practice their cat reflexes. We've got targets. We'll have, like, if they're partnered up with someone, they'll swing the targets so they can practice blocking, or they'll reach with the target so they can practice deflecting, like grabs and things like that. And this develops their cat reflex. I've had adults tell me, even kids, that something would happen. Let's say they're at the dinner table and a salt shaker falls off the table, they'll automatically reach out and grab it.
Without having to think.
Yes, sir. It just becomes a reaction.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to train my students to do, not only physically to defend themselves and to develop those reflexes, but also mentally to tell themselves when they're in a high anxiety situation. For example, I faced my fear to fly a plane today. I learned how to fly a plane. Naturally, I was nervous, but I continued to tell myself I can handle this, and I would breathe and relax and calm the breathing. In return, this would calm my mind, and I seem more focused and more relaxed. So
you tell me how you calm yourself. Yeah, he took flying lessons today. You'll never catch me up there. Yeah. I may go like this. I'm a bird, but I'm not taking flying lessons. But your thought process and breathing. Tell us, you know, when you speak about yoga and stuff, they talk about prana. Your prana, which is your breathing in and breathing out and connecting yourself with your breath to the universe. Pranayama, they call it.
Yes,
so you teach your students, kids and adults, also about proper breathing techniques. What do you teach them?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I take yoga personally at Prana Yoga, and I love it and I enjoy it. I do it for my own physical fitness, and from what I understand, I don't know much about yoga, but I do incorporate it into my training. That yoga means to unite the body and the mind, and to breathe. And
I like to repeat that. I mean, you know, we hear about yoga all the time, but this goes back to ancient times, and I'll review more of the history a little bit later. But what in medicine, for example, we haven't been a neurosurgeon for 45 years, which we still don't understand, that the mind is indeed connected to the body.
Yes, sir.
Maybe 1600s or so. What actually happened in medicine is they, in essence, cut the head off the body, handed it to the church, and they gave the body to science. And for 300 years, we have been practicing body medicine, totally forgetting this thing is attached to us. And I hate to say it, Steve, even at the medical school today, they are not teaching that this has an effect on our body.
Oh, that's very powerful.
1970 or so, Candace Pert, P-E-R-T, published a book called Molecules of Emotion. Molecules of Emotion. Then I wrote, that impressed me so much, then I wrote the Mind-Body Connection, the book after that. It's on Amazon. And what Candace Pert discovered was that our millions of cells, she was looking through an electron microscope at a cell, and she saw these cells had on them receptors, and these receptors were wiggling away, dancing and wiggling and wiggling, and that was where the chemicals of our bodies, our hormones, our neurotransmitters, our neuropeptides work. What a discovery. Should have gotten the Nobel Prize for Medicine, but her head of her department, NIH, which was a men's society, when they applied for Nobel Prize for Medicine, because this is huge. I mean, what did she discover? That this affects us. But her boss, Snyder, wouldn't put her name on the paper, although she did the research, and the Nobel Committee wouldn't give the prize unless the researcher signed off on it. She did not get it, yeah.
Wow.
Then 3 years later, a Scottish team discovered our endorphins, our own morphine. For us to have receptors on our cells, they wouldn't be there unless we ourselves made a chemical that acted on them, yeah. And they discovered the endorphins that, you know, after you exercise or you take tap dancing like I do, it makes you feel great, or you work out, teaching your students, do yoga or Tai Chi or whatever, makes you feel great. And your own chemicals in your body, that's what's making you feel good, because they're hitting these receptors. So Molecules of Emotion is a great book to read if you're looking for something to read. But this is really what this ancient science is all about, is that we might as well discuss it a little bit here. In history, thousands of years ago, in China, in India, they, for example, the farming was largely a farming society in India, but these ancient peoples, this is what they're looking at, nature, okay? And they then try to connect the plants and the animals to the human being through nature. And to what they were looking at was the stars of the universe. And so they try to bring in the cosmic, the sun energy, the moon energy, and connect it to all living things. See, they were onto something. They were really ahead of us, weren't they? I mean, really ahead of us. And they developed systems of exercise, like yoga, for example, and they even use it to treat medicine. So for them, it was mind, body, spirit, energy, essence. That's how they looked at human health. And we still don't look at it that way. Candace Pert did. I do. It's not taught at the medical school yet. So it shouldn't just be you go see a doctor and here's your script. Hey, we need to know what your neurotransmitters are doing. When I look at somebody, and I did this throughout medicine, I didn't just see, I saw them as neurotransmitters. The heart maybe had red ones, the liver, purple ones, the different colors. I saw a person as a neurotransmitter, and that's what we really are. In our thought process, how we exercise, the kind of food that we eat affects these neurotransmitters.
Oh, yeah.
That's really us. And your immunity, your Army, Navy, and Air Force in your belly, for example. I mean, I teach now what really regulates our health. Our biome. These trillions of bacteria here run the metabolism of your body, and they're influenced by what you eat and your thought process.
Oh, yeah.
How you think through hormones, neurotransmitters affects your body. And this is what yoga knew thousands of years ago.
Yes, sir.
Thousands of years ago. So it's not just that type of food, it's how we are thinking. And then yoga and Tai Chi and Pilates, all these are kind of interrelated in what you're teaching. And to teach it, say, to children, for example, I mean, how wonderful that is. A lot of our kids are stressed. 30% of our children are smoking marijuana because they're stressed. But what isn't mentioned to you by the government health department is that smoking marijuana punches holes in your brain. Been scientifically proven. I can give you the scientific papers. And one of my friends, I was playing tennis last night, told me he had met with somebody from the legislature, and they were outlining what they're going to do over the next year. And guess what? They're going to discuss legalizing medical marijuana. Just they brought in CBD oil, which to me opened the door to marijuana, and I predicted it would get wider. Now the legislature is going to bringing in medical marijuana, and when they get done with that in a year or two, they'll bring in marijuana, another addictive substance that punches holes in children's brain, causes pot bellies and many other effects, and it really has very little benefit. Maybe it helps pain a little bit, but the other ways we treat pain, we can use yoga for pain, for example.
Oh, yeah.
A person does. Tell us about what effect you think yoga would do for a person if they had a low back pain or a shoulder pain. What do you think, Steve, it would do for them?
You know, I love yoga. When I leave a yoga class, I feel like I'm floating, almost like I'm walking on air. It's
almost
just
like you're flying, huh?
a release, yeah. Physically, mentally, spiritually. I was watching one of Joe Rogan's podcasts, and he talks about, he's the commenter on the UFC, commentator, and he smokes marijuana, and he said he would much rather have yoga. If God was going to take away yoga or marijuana, he would much rather have yoga, because he says he feels a lot better and more at peace than smoking marijuana.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
And it's yoga's not addictive.
Yes, sir. It's healthy.
If you do an activity that's already hormonally like endorphins are not addictive. I mean, you feel like I play pickleball regularly in tennis, and I almost feel like it's addictive, but it's not truly addictive. It makes you feel great. It
The
causes
feeling of
happiness.
it. Yes, sir.
See, that causes happiness. That's serotonin, and you feel better for hours.
Oh, yeah.
For hours, versus cigarettes or alcohol or marijuana. That's a quick fix.
Yep.
And got to light up again right away. Got to have another drink right away.
Yes, sir.
So our thought process is tremendously affected by exercises.
Sure.
If you wanted to, say, build bigger muscles, suppose, say, hey, I want to be ripped, I don't suggest you start taking whey or other supplements, because they don't really work. They have other side effects. Milk products have in them casein. Casein causes cancer. What type of these would you do if you wanted to build, say, bigger muscles? Yoga, Pilates, Tai Chi, they might all work, but which one would you like the best? Pilates, would that be the one you'd pick?
Yeah, I hear Pilates is really good too. You know, I love yoga. I'm a big fan of it, and the reason I'm getting my muscle strength from weightlifting and, like repetitions, push-ups, pull-ups.
Yeah, you're not lifting weights. You're using the gravity of your body.
Yeah, I do more of that, gravity and yoga, because I think,
because I wrote a book called Sitting Disease. It's on Amazon. It's interesting, based on scientific research, because of our space program at NASA, because they found the astronauts that went to Mars, where gravity is, went to the moon. They're heading for Mars soon, and it's only like 0.6 of the gravity, maybe even lower than that, of the Earth. So the muscles are being pulled less, and they came back, they looked like storks. Yeah, yeah, there was no gravitational pull. And on the flight back and forth also. So we're exposed to gravity all day. Yeah, you stand up, that's 1 g, okay, 1 gravity. You jump, come back down, hopefully, without falling, that's 6 g. So that's gravitational pull. So I remember a few years ago, I went to the island of St. Martin, and I get up every morning early, and like in my habit, and I walk by the beach, and there's a gentleman standing there, looked like a movie star, beautiful muscles. He was twisted up, standing on one leg, like for 10 minutes, and not moving at all. But the gravitational pull he looked like a guy been lifting all kind of weights all day. I talked to him in the pool later. He didn't lift weights. He was an airplane pilot that flew from Dallas to Costa Rica all the time, and slowly his body came bigger from sitting disease, not moving. Yeah, if we don't move for about 7 hours, that turns off an enzyme in our body after about an hour, LPL enzyme that puts sugar and fat metabolism in half. So a lot of truck drivers, airplane pilots, people who sit in the office a lot, become sick. It's like smoking cigarettes. You sit for a couple hours like smoking a pack of cigarettes. That's true. So getting up and moving around is very important. So that's why you see now the Barra desk, the stand-up desk, the treadmill desk. So you're moving. Why? Because when you're moving, you're fighting gravity. So in yoga activity, we take certain postures, warrior 1, warrior 2. These are different kind of postures. Maybe do the sun series. That's about 10 of them. And if you want to get your heart moving a little bit, I think it is important too. You can take those 10 in the sun series. You can look up on the internet, sun series yoga, bang, they'll pop up. And you'll get some cardiac activity also.
Sure.
Besides the gravitational pull, you will get cardiac activity. And like I said, yoga goes back into Chinese and Indian history.
Oh, yeah.
And they even publish a book like 5,000 years ago. Yeah, 5,000 years before Christ. Yeah.
Did you know martial arts started as from a yogi?
Yeah, give us a little history there on martial arts.
I don't know too many details, but I do know his name was Bodhidharma. He was a yoga master, and he moved to China.
Yeah.
And it evolved into like Chinese Kung Fu. Then it evolved into Japan karate, and then the Taekwondo in Korea.
Yeah, he
So
came
it's a step
from.
by step.
Did he come from India?
Yes, sir, from
He
India.
came from India, and then he moved to China because in China they had only done the physical aspect of it. Okay, they had not connected the mind to the body. So when he moved over there, he brought the mind to it.
Yes, sir.
And then like Kundalini yoga, which you hear a lot about today, was founded like 1000 after the death of Christ, CE, and so these things evolved over time, and the method of doing it evolved over century. Each dynasty in China, things changed a little bit, but it hung around. And then it kind of went into disappeared for a while. Matter of fact, Mao Zedong outlawed this yoga and Tai Chi and things in China for a period of time. And then he brought it back. And he taught them Western medicine, okay? Yeah, happened under communism. And but it was costing him so much money, it wasn't working. Then he threw it out, and he said, probably the only good thing that he ever did say, he said that Western medicine ought to consider to learn about the mind-body connection, because 90% of the time, that's what worked the best. They had pharmacies, all right, but most of the time they're making teas and things like that. As long as you believed it worked, it worked.
Yeah.
And then, remember Candace Pert spoke about what the human brain is developed. Nature designed it, God designed it, depends how you look at it, in us, the quick fix, and the happiness The serotonin, the long-term feeling good. The quick fix that rises the dopamine could be sugar. Sugar is the booger and the hooker.
Oh yeah.
That's what's causing most of our illnesses today, is sugar.
Yeah, if you want, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you want to, no, go right ahead.
If you want a more quality, long-lasting effect, you have to discipline yourself. Discipline is freedom. It's like Dr. Kachmann always mentions: exercise, eat a high alkaline diet. You have to have that balance, because when you do that, not only do you feel good, but you start thinking good. And when you think good, you start manifesting better things in your life. If you think about it on a deeper level, you know, my suit here, you know, your car, your watch, everything around us and is an external manifestation of someone's opinion. Someone had to envision that, believe in it, make it happen. Well, how can we manifest more positive in our life? It starts with us. We have to discipline ourselves to balance our body and mind. That way we're in a right state of mind and we're attracting more positivity into our life. And I feel that's very, very important. That's why you hear of these people, you know, that are, you know, I don't want to say too much and upset too many people, but when they don't live that way and they start circular thinking, they develop this internal mass of thoughts. They're thinking negative. They're not feeling good about themselves with improper diet or whatever it may be. And then what happens is you create this internal mass of negative thoughts over and over inside the mind. And then eventually what happens? It has to go somewhere. Then you hear about, oh, this guy Joe next door is a quiet guy. He never said anything because he bottled it up inside. And then he does something crazy, like takes a gun to a supermarket, or shoots up the place, or suicide or something like that. So that's why it's so important to release that through physical discipline, through exercise. You know, getting rid of all that negative energy, proper diet. So again, you know, you feel good, and when you're feeling good, you're thinking good, and then you're manifesting positivity in your life. It's just so simple, right, Dr. Kachmann? But we have to discipline ourselves to do it.
Yeah, I always tell people about eating properly, eat 70 to 80% vegetables and fruit, and you're going to get rid of your type 2 diabetes probably about a month. But, you know, our mind is attached to all that, and when you have a child, there's a lot of kids being overweight. The largest increase in being overweight is age 2 to 6. And kids bully children because of weight problems all the darn time. And these children get up in the morning, they look at themselves in the mirror, and again, the judgment-free zone here, but they're having negative thoughts. And you explained so beautifully how these negative thoughts add up eventually, and kids start developing bad habits. They're traveling down here, man. They just want to have a day where they wake up and be happy to get that serotonin secret. Remember I said brain has designed the dopamine, the quick fix. And that's made in the brainstem. It then goes to nucleus accumbens and then sends a message up into the hypothalamus. That's the circuitry of how we feel. It's actually based on chemical changes in our body, which can be affected by our, you know already the answer, our thoughts, our physical activity, by what we eat. What we put down re-educates our biome. And the beautiful thing is, remember those bacteria living there that run the metabolism of your body? Bacteria, their lifespan is 20 seconds. So what you eat, you can change things in your life, like to get rid of some weight, or start eating properly, to your thought process, which remember, most serotonin is made here. You can get those changes. That's why you feel so good after you work out, is that your endorphins, your hormones, your neurotransmitters affecting these receptors. I feel like I'm in heaven walking down the street after a workout. So it isn't just the food, but it's physical activity. And to teach a child martial arts or Tai Chi or Pilates or Qigong is a wonderful thing, because most of the illnesses we're looking at start in childhood. I see a lot of diabetics as teenagers, and they don't know it. And I always tell people, get your blood tested, but I want to warn you too, though, some kids look perfectly healthy. We call them trophies. Thin on the outside, but fat on the inside. The fat's in the liver. They eat the wrong food. They're not exercised, but they're looking good. But you are what your blood work is. It isn't just the eyes. But the eyes tell you a lot. I mean, people look at themselves and there's negative thinking. So to address these issues with your child is critical. You teach your kids, they're adults, either one, about proper nutrition?
Yes, sir.
You do, huh?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Very, very important. I just tell them it's all about making the decision. You just have to decide and take action.
But you tell them the type of food they should be eating?
Yes, sir. I always tell them like a high alkaline diet, fruits and vegetables. Like, you know, I believe a lot in what you teach. I do tell them to add a little bit extra protein if they're working out real hard, like weightlifting, you know, just for energy.
Yeah, but not supplements in their food.
Yeah, more of a holistic approach.
More holistic approach. They can eat some nuts or guacamole, and because they're full of proteins. It has been proven by the Nutrition Society that a properly balanced vegetable type, fruit type diet is perfectly compatible with a normal life as a child and as an adult. Yeah, you don't have to eat meat products to get the protein you need. That's a misconception. The meat industry pushed that at us, but it's really not true.
You can eat beans.
Eat beans right there. That. And I always recommend to people something if they want to have good health because it's so full of nutrients, to maybe have a smoothie in the morning.
I love smoothies.
That's easy,
Like a kale smoothie. With
not juicing, smoothie, where you take like kale and lettuce and fruit and vegetables, frozen and fresh, and some curcumin and live fit is some other vitamins, minerals you can add to it, and put it in a machine and then drink it with a straw. Every day do I do it. I met my nutrient need and I don't get hungry for a long time. So remember, sugar's a booger the hooker. You're eating a donut for breakfast, you get a problem. You've got a problem.
It's an illusion because people feel like, oh, this donut's going to make me happy, but how do they feel 20 minutes later? Their energy drops. They feel like they're not in control of themselves. It's like they're on this mouse wheel going around and around. You know what I'm saying? Like they're never satisfied. Their energy's so up and down. Why not just decide, hey, I'm going to eat healthy, exercise, just take control, and when you do that, you're going to be more free. You're going to feel more peaceful. It's going to be a more consistent energy. The confidence is going to grow. Yeah. It's just so simple.
Yeah.
You know?
Can you imagine the kids sitting in school and they've learned martial arts from you, and how self-confident they would feel, how more positive they are, the more likely to pick good food to eat because they know what good food is. Most children have no idea what good food is. So in the home, if you get a child who's always eating sugar, for example, a lot of kids don't listen because since birth they've been given sugary products, which was a mistake, but industry promotes it. So the schools still promote bad food. Yes, they do. Matter of fact, if you don't, for example, let me give you a hint on milk. I don't know how you feel about milk, but I read a book called Whitewash by Joe Keon. Read it to double check. It's full of scientific papers that milk's not a health food. Cow's milk is made for baby cows. We don't have the enzyme to digest it. Casein, the protein in it, is extremely carcinogenic. A lot of the children's cancers are from milk. I speak to a lot of pediatricians that are not aware of that. I gave a copy of that book to a pediatrician at a hospital recently. He said, call me back once you read it to see if you agree or disagree. He never called. And that's disappointing because the government promotes milk. If the schools don't offer milk, the government turns off the funding of their school lunches. It's true. Federal law. Lobbying did that. So I don't know. Have you any thoughts on that? Have you heard this before?
No, sir.
Yeah. Read. I highly recommend. I want you to read Whitewash by Joe Keon. Okay, Whitewash, Joe Keon. I've read 2 or 3 times. Full of scientific references. Rarely do I meet anyone's ever read it, especially healthcare providers, which is very disappointing because it's true. And if you feel it needs some milk, it's almond milk or soy milk or something. Or, for me, it's called water and lemon and lime. You get used to it. I don't need anything else. Very healthy. We speak about in these yoga and Pilates and Tai Chi and Qigong, for example, connecting the energy of the universe to us, because the energy of the universe is in plants. How did the energy in the universe get to plants? From the sun. The sun puts out electrical energy that lands on the leaf in our trees, and that's what makes our sugars and also our good fats, omega-3 fats, are made by the energy of the universe. Yes. My maple leaf tree, would you believe this? I read this. My maple leaf tree out back has 100,000 leaves.
Wow.
That's what it said in the book. Yeah. So I took a closer look at my morning walk in nature. How do you reduce stress? Maybe let's talk about stress a minute. How do I relieve my stress? And then I want to hear your story, Steve. I wake up in the morning, I give the wife a hug, and my hormones and neurotransmitters and neuropeptides hit my receptors, and I feel better. She feels better. So then my two cats, which live on the left side of my chest, never the right. Don't you wonder if they're not connecting to the neurotransmitters of my heart? Don't you really wonder?
Well, I believe that.
I've heard recently from a veterinarian that actually their heart beats 60 to 90 times a minute. Don't you wonder in the middle of the night if you had an EKG on them and mine, it would probably be the same.
Yeah, they say that's that way with breathing, if someone's breathing the same time.
And I'm breathing. Yeah, they always, I wake up and bang goes, they'll lay on the chest. Then I go downstairs and have some coffee. That hits my neurotransmitters. I feel better. 2 or 3 cups a day, incidentally, you're healthy. Fortunately, then I look outside. I have these bird feeders. This morning, 5 deers were there. I put some corn down there too, just to bring the animal world up. I had 5 deers out there grazing. Yeah, and some rabbits. The rabbits put their one eye on me. I think I'm friends with one. Oh yeah, I'll see them. They won't move. I can go like this. They stare even more heavy. Oh. So again, it makes me feel better. And then later, almost without exception, every day I take a 30-minute walk. I call it bathing in nature. That's what the Japanese call it. And I'm connecting to the trees. I look at the leaves, concentrate on the leaves and the patterns. See, there's some mathematics, biomathematics in plants. Yeah, Fibonacci numbers in plants. That's why they look so symmetrical. That's why they're so symmetrical. It's beauty, okay? Then, our last talk I gave on weight control just the other day, I put up 3 pictures, and this is fascinating. Here are 3 people who are very unhealthy. I mean, bad weight, and you talk, let's just say lack of symmetry. Let's use those words. Once they start eating right, all 3 of them look like movie stars.
I believe it.
That's biomathematics. That's biomathematics, Fibonacci numbers. Yeah, one was a 380-pound truck driver that transported buffalo meat from California to Fort Wayne. That's interesting. When I'm telling somebody that story over lunch, I look at the menu, and you know what it said on the menu? Buffalo meat. Yeah, actually. Probably healthier than regular beef. Oh, yeah. But that's not what I ordered. And that was interesting because it was right next door was Planet Fitness, where I had met the truck driver. Yeah, and he said, you remember me? About a year after he said I had given him a half-hour talk on how to get rid of diabetes and lose some weight.
That's awesome.
And he started eating right, plant foods, 70-80%. He had a crock pot in the truck, where he cooked a little bit of chicken and vegetables. 10 hours later, he's in New York. That's his dinner. And then he says, well, I'm going to show you something you will remember. This is funny. He took me outside. His truck was parked there. It was on a Saturday. And I had walked around the truck to measure what a mile was, 100 times around. And very interesting. And now he looked like 210 pounds. I have a picture on my phone. Wow. 380 to 210. Off of all his 12 pills, diabetes went away.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And I wanted a pre-picture, so of course he didn't have one with him, so he gave me the phone number of his wife. I called her up. She wouldn't give me the picture because she thought, you're going to have him on TV.
Oh.
She was right. I would have.
That's
But
funny.
the other two people that I have pictures when I give my PowerPoint is that they have developed the symmetry of nature. And because that's what this yoga and things are all about, and what you martial arts that you teach. You're connecting to nature. So your customers, you're teaching them proper relaxation,
Yes, sir.
proper muscle strength,
Yes,
and you
sir.
do some cardio by increasing the rate of this activity.
Mm-hmm.
You're teaching them some discipline.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then years ago, well, the first book that I wrote really was called The Call of Life. I'll hold it up for you here a little bit. Very first book that I read because of the things that I was seeing that I was looking at the opioid epidemic and criminality and all that, and I thought maybe a lot of kids don't have a behavioral system. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
We have the 10 Commandments, but none of them seem to have memorized those. So I wrote my own thing, which is more extensive than the 10 Commandments, but if you read them, the 10 Commandments are in there, no question about it. They're posted many places around town, actually, in some judges' chambers. A behavioral code, I gave you a copy of it today.
Yes, sir. I
Maybe
like
to
it.
consider, have the kids have a look at it. I'm trying to get the school system to teach it, but they weren't interested. Although if you go at Wall Street to the Criminal Justice Building for Children, you'll see a statue there, which I paid for. Hector Garcia did it, which is melted down guns used in crime and a yellow flame to a dove on top, so it's conflict to peace. And on there I've written the 20 prescription. You can just go down Wall Street, take a picture of them if you don't want to buy a copy of the book or something, which I'm not here to sell books, but an idea. And then I found out inside the building, since this was dedicated in 2006, they are playing the ceremony and the prescriptions on TV 24 hours a day.
Awesome.
I mean, that threw me away. I was giving a lunch and learn there, so we're teaching, what I was trying to do, teach behavioral changes, and these incidentally apply to children as well as adults. Read us a couple out of there.
Yes, sir.
One of it I know is read a book regularly. Number 20, respect the environment, but read us a couple.
Treat others as you would like to be treated.
And that you're going to treat others as you would like to be treated. Makes sense to me. It's worked for me. I had a nurse years ago, and he wasn't the best nurse I ever had, but he was the most beloved nurse I ever had. Yeah, 6'6", black guy, long hair, never dressed right, came to work late a lot, but patients in the hospital, people loved him more than anybody. By a long shot. He left, I had 4,000 phone calls.
Wow.
Over months. I had another nurse who worked for me 25 years. I got 2 phone calls. Did that tell you something? I remember making rounds with him, this big tall guy, and I'd be fancy suits, and he'd be this long hair. We never passed a person that didn't talk to us, or that we didn't talk to them. We'd be on an elevator. Good morning. How are you doing? Is your day going okay? Well, who are you coming to see? You see what I mean? If you want to be treated well, try treating other people well.
Yeah.
You know, it might work in international peace too.
Yes, sir.
You know, instead of, hey, you're going to kill us with this A-bomb, and maybe meeting with them and talking with them and see, hey, could we trade a little more? Might work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it might work. Read us another one.
Read a book regularly.
Hey, how about that? Read a book regularly. I'm out of hand on that one. Always read 2 books at once. Dr. Furman, who wrote that famous book, Eat to Live, came to visit here last Saturday. He said, well, I won't come for a Wayne. I can stay at Kachmann's house. So he stayed at my house. I made him go through my library in the basement, 1,200 books. You know, I had everything organized, memory, Furman's books, Hyman's books, you know, just everything was in sections. And as we're walking upstairs, I say to him, I bet you have a lot more books than this, because he's world famous. very good books to read. End of Diabetes, great books. Endovascular Disease, End of Dieting, all Dr. Furman, excellent books. And when to the question, he didn't answer it. So then he went on and gave this great lecture on proper eating. Again, we talked about simplicity. It's simple.
Yeah.
Eat fruit and vegetables 78% of the time. Minimal meat. I didn't say zero. Don't have to be vegan or vegetarian, or don't follow a diet. Eat all you want of nutrient-dense food, because the vitamins, the minerals, the phytochemicals will turn your appetite off. Okay, and again, it's our mind, our dopamine, the quick fix, our serotonin that's missing in what the martial arts, in yoga and Tai Chi and Qigong, what they teach us is mind control, eating control, happiness, self confidence. And do you teach any stronger martial arts where people really, get into it and do boxing, or this is mainly the soft type martial arts? You teach both?
Well, I teach both. I teach kidnap awareness, ladies self-defense.
Kidnap awareness?
Yeah, like awareness drills. It's more of a scientific approach of how to get away from someone. For example, let's say a little kid's approach and somebody grabs his hand, walks away with him, he's going to be terrified, he's going to cry. No one's going to save that child. The reason why, they think it's their parent pulling him away, he's upset because he didn't get a toy or an ice cream.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell these kids. I say, if you cry, it's not going to work. You have to attract attention to the situation. You got to let that tiger out, hit that guy's hand, yell loud, kick him hard, run, and say, help! That draws attention to the situation. That's why so many kids are kidnapped. Somebody grabs them, the kid starts crying, no one's going to save, they think it's a parent.
Yeah.
So it's just more of a scientific approach what to do.
Could you repeat that once more? So listen very carefully. Teach your kids this. What do you teach them to do?
Yeah, you want to attract attention to the situation. That means if somebody grabs their hand, that they strike the hand, they kick low, this shocks the attacker's mind, especially if they're yelling and they're screaming. It does two things. It intimidates the attacker, it shocks them, plus it attracts attention to the situation. A lot of these predators don't want attention attracted to them, so a lot of the times they'll flee. I've had 2 of my students confronted, and they use that simple technique, what I just explained, and they both got away very, very safe. So it works. Again, crying's not going to help. It's the same thing with the women. I tell them, if somebody comes up and grabs them, walks away, sometimes they'll freeze up and get scared. Well, that looks like you're a couple. So instead, I tell the women to let that tiger out, to act like a crazy woman, to scratch them, eye gouge them, kick them in the groin, slap them, do whatever you can, scream loud. This will make them think you're crazy, and a lot of the times they'll leave you alone.
Well,
So
how timely that advice is, because when you think about what we've been watching on TV lately.
Well, if you think about it.
Tell me, what should, I realize she may have had a couple of drinks too, but what should, let's say it again too, what should she have done? If girls find themselves in high school or in college, in a fraternity or a social situation, they shouldn't have gotten into in the first place, but that doesn't matter. We're talking about now that they realize they're in trouble and being forcibly taken into a room or out of a party or being pulled in the car. What should this young girl do?
Yell help.
Scream real loud,
Yes,
help.
scream real loud and just fight aggressively. Think about this. This is a very simple way to explain it. If you pick up a cat, okay, and it's gentle, you want to cuddle with your cat, right?
Yeah.
But if that cat starts hissing and scratching and growling, what do you want to do? Let it go. It's intimidating.
Yeah.
Well, if you do the same thing as a person, we're naturally bigger and stronger than a house cat. So if you're scratching and kicking and screaming, that's much more intimidating than a cat. So
I would
works.
think scratching somebody's skin would have great value because it's
kicking low
painful, and then kick them where it hurts.
Yeah.
And moving all extremities. It's hard to control someone where 4 things are moving and maybe they're biting them too.
Sure.
you know, would be a good defense. So teaching kids some self-defense mechanism, I think it's probably important. You teach every child probably that, huh?
Yes, sir. And your walk and your talk, the way you carry yourself, is your best defense. And this is what I tell my women and children too. Just walk with confidence too, and be aware of your surroundings. Always look straight ahead. Use your peripheral. Never turn like this because you're blind.
Yeah.
To one side. Just look straight ahead. If you see something that looks a little fishy, like if you see some guys, you know, standing or pacing in front of your car, don't worry about how you look. Walk away. Walk back inside. Tell the security guard. Or if there's a van outside with the engine on. Okay, a lot of people are attacked that way. Never go near a van. You know, don't go to your car if you see a van with the engine on, parked next to you.
Yeah,
Just
matter of fact, the other day I
techniques
was
like
leaving
this.
Rotary Club where I belong, and my car was kind of parked far away, which wasn't too bright, downtown, and there was a not too friendly group. The car was not the best in the world.
Yeah.
Two guys sitting there, and I walked away from it.
Yeah, when in doubt, get out.
Yeah,
That's my philosophy.
yeah.
If you feel, if it doesn't feel right here.
Were they gonna rob me? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
May mean nothing, but you got to be careful. You know, the symbol behind us here is very interesting. And give me your thoughts on that, about the yin and the yang, the positive and the negative. Can you explain that, what's behind us a little bit? And I'll give you my explanation too.
Sure, yeah, it's good and bad, male, female. It's the opposites.
What they use in Chinese Indian medicine a lot.
Yes, sir.
And what it's really saying is it's not just yes and no. It's usually a blend of things.
Yeah, the balance.
That truth and falsehood, and usually one gives a little, then the other one takes over a little. That's the way the Asians really look at conflict, not just war and peace. They kind of, so when negotiating, speaking to Asians, for example, they have this blend of the yin and the yang, the qi being the softness and the yang being the power, how they interact with each other. And to deal that way with human beings, the mother and father and their children, instead of no, no, yes, yes, to maybe give a little, you might get a lot more.
You get what you give.
You know,
Yes,
you
sir.
give what you give, I think is a good,
Yeah, you get what you give.
term. Let's spend a few minutes and kind of explain a little bit the difference between different modalities that we speak about, like Qigong, and then give you an explanation. Qi meaning the energy of the universe, right?
Yes, sir.
Remember we said, where does the energy come from? From the sun, it's the universe, the stars, and the Big Bang, the beginning. Chinese Indian medicine takes the energy of the universe, connects it to us and our plants and what we eat. Well, it actually makes sense. So then they look at qi as the energy that we're breathing in, and that we're breathing out. And the qi is the energy, the gong is the energy of movement. So qigong, there you have yoga type postures, but they're moving and using it. They will not just stand there like a yoga activity where you might have warrior one or warrior two, and you stand there and you hold yourself for 30 seconds or something. But in Qigong, you're also moving powerfully. And the one I really liked is where, and I do this sometimes when we work out at Planet Fitness, that I'm gathering the energy of the universe, and well, let's face it, it's also a yoga posture, so there's muscle activity going on, and how I'm squeezing it together. Remember, this is also muscular movement. That's sort of Qigong. And it's tough to see the difference between that and Tai Chi, but in Tai Chi, the movements are slower, little more picturesque. And I saw, when I was in Hong Kong recently, left the Hilton Hotel, my son-in-law was doing a show for actually the beginning of China.com. Yeah, yeah. I met Steve Basche that day, and I get up at 6 in the morning, and the first thing happened, the doorman, Chinese guy obviously, was totally dressed in a white suit.
Wow.
That was really impressive. Fancy looking shoes, and he opens the door, had a big smile on his face. I said, "You do this every day?" He says, "I love my life." His opening statement. And they go outside. There's about 30, 40 Hong Kong residents, Chinese, and they were doing Tai Chi type movements. Yeah, and they weren't exactly 10 years old, you know. A lot of them were 70s, 80s, 90s, looked very healthy, normal weight, and they were doing the slow maneuvers of Tai Chi and slowly moving, and that. So what are they getting? Mental control, some physical control, something. They're getting up in the morning, they're getting up with the sun, the river was flowing by, they're looking at the energy, and Qigong really, they describe it as swimming in water, as swimming in water. And they did this. I saw every morning they were doing this, and it looked clear that they must be eating pretty good food to look like that. And you know, they were like, one lady I was talking to was 92 years old.
Wow.
Look healthy. I suspect she's going to live to be 110. Okay. Is that your goal, 110?
Oh yeah, 120.
120? God, I mean, you must have gotten that out of the Bible.
Hey, evolution-wise, right?
Well,
Possible. It's
so
possible.
far you're doing pretty darn good.
Thank
but
you.
I will repeat, and I told you before, at I celebrated the 43rd anniversary of my 39th birthday recently on 0 pills. And believe me, I didn't always eat that way because my dad had a deli in New York City. And how do you spell bad food? Okay. And Pilates, we already decided, is to develop. Joe Pilates, there's a picture, I'm in this book I have here on Pilates by Alan Herdman. There's a picture of Joe Pilates, and I tell you, what do you think? Did he have muscles as good as yours?
Oh
bigger?
yeah, big, more.
Maybe.
He was in amazing shape.
And
Yeah.
what age do you think he was, that picture?
He looked like he was in like in his 70s.
In the 70s
Yeah.
at least. Yeah.
just-
So these are different forms of, and other books I'd like you to read a little bit, which is part of what we're speaking about, Norman Vincent Peale, Power of Positive Thinking.
Oh yeah, very important.
Yeah, I have all his books actually, believe it or not. I met his assistant minister years ago, and I had cured that guy's wife or something, and it wasn't that difficult. He walks in one day with 3 boxes full of Vincent Norman Peale's books, gave them to me as a present. Can you imagine that?
Oh, that's awesome.
I was going to bring some more in, but a lot of them are signed before he died. So and his wife too. I hate to take a chance and put him on the road.
Can I say one thing, sir?
Yeah.
Is that all right? If you guys want all this knowledge to manifest in reality, you have to take action. Remember, don't say someday, one day. Say today. Today, you are strong. Today, you are healthy. You have to put yourself in that positive mindset like Dr. Kachmann explained earlier, and if you do that, your body will follow. Everything else will follow. You just have to decide and do it today.
I think that's an excellent summary. And if you make a mistake, eat the wrong food, that's nothing to get excited about.
Yeah.
Just make a plan, go at it in the next day. It's not hard to be healthy. What you're saying is maybe to do a little meditative martial arts, Tai Chi, Pilates, Qigong type thing, maybe develop a spiritual part of your home and do it a little bit. And then some strength training, eat the right way. You'll probably live to be 120 like Steve, or 110 like me. Thanks so much for watching. Watch our other shows. If you want to see somebody for a consultation, I see people for free at the Three Rivers Pharmacy every Friday morning, like I did today. You saw some wonderful people. I'll help you get well. Steve and I did this because we love you. That's why we did this. and I hope to see you at his studio or my studio and come dance with us.
Oh yeah, he's an awesome dancer.
He saw it the other night and thought he wanted my lectures.
Amazing job.